We're glad you found us. In today's video, we'll explore 9 Stoic exercises you can easily use in your own life. Stoicism isn't just a set of beliefs, it's also a way of life that helps you deal with life's challenges in a wise and strong way. In this episode, we'll talk about 9 useful Stoic exercises that you can use in your everyday life. These exercises will help you strengthen your mind, take care of your emotions, and find lasting peace in a world that is always changing. So, whether you're new to Stoicism or have been practicing it for a long time, come with us on this journey to learn timeless wisdom and change your life. Let's get started. The dichotomy of control comes in at number 1. Stoics believe that the most important thing we can do is figure out what we can change and what we can't. Things we can change and things we can't. The weather has caused a flight to be late. No amount of yelling at an airline worker will stop a storm. You can't change where you were born or how tall you are by wishing. You can't make someone like you no matter how hard you try. On top of that, the time we spend throwing ourselves at things that can't be moved is time we don't spend on things we can change. Every day and in every hard situation, come back to this question. Keep a journal and think about it all the time. If you can figure out what parts of your day you can control and what parts you can't, you'll not only be happier, but you'll also have a big advantage over people who don't realize they're fighting a battle they can't win. Epictetus said that the most important thing in life is to be able to identify and separate things so that I can tell which things are outside of my control and which are about the choices I can make. So, where do I look to find good and bad? Not to things outside of me that I can't change, but to the choices I make on my own. Journal is number 2. Epictetus was a servant. The emperor was Marcus Aurelius. Seneca was influential and wrote plays. 3 men who were very different from each other lived very different lives. But they all seemed to do the same thing. Keep a journal. Epictetus would tell his students to write down day by day what they learned about philosophy and that this was how they should exercise themselves. Seneca liked to write in his journal in the evenings. When it got dark and his wife was asleep, he told a friend, "I look back over my whole day and think about what I've done and said, not hiding anything from myself and not missing anything." Then he would go to bed, and the sleep that followed this self-examination was especially sweet. Marcus was the best at keeping a journal, and we are lucky to have his writings, which are called ta eishauton, or to himself. Stoicism says that keeping a journal is more than just keeping a diary. This way of living every day is the philosophy, getting ready for the day, thinking about the day that's over, reminding ourselves of the lessons we've learned from teachers, books, and our own lives. It's not enough to just hear these lessons once. Instead, you have to practice them over and over, think about them, and most importantly, write them down and feel them flow through your fingers as you do so. Stoicism is meant to be a way of life and a set of habits. It's not a philosophy that you can read once and instantly understand. No, it's a lifelong goal that takes hard work, practice, and concentration. Pierre Hadot called it spiritual exercise. This is one of the benefits of putting the Stoics into a page-a-day format with monthly themes and weekly themes in the Daily Stoic Journal. It gives you something to look at, think about, and fully understand. Not just briefly, more than once, but every single day for a year, and if possible, every single year. And if Epictetus is right, it's something you should always have with you. That's why we like the idea of a daily collection of the best songs. There are 3. Try out Bad Luck. Seneca, who was Nero's advisor and had a lot of money, said that we should set aside a certain number of days each month to live like poor people. Take some food with you, put on your worst clothes, and get out of your home and bed. He said that if you put yourself in front of want, you'll ask yourself, is this what I used to fear? It's important to keep in mind that this is just a game and not a way to make a point. He doesn't mean think about bad luck, he means live it. Comfort is the worst kind of slavery because you are always afraid that something or someone will take it away. But if you can not only predict bad luck but also practice it, chance loses its power to mess up your life. Anxiety and fear come from not knowing what will happen, not from what has happened in the past. Anyone who has ever taken a big risk knows how much energy both states can use. The way to fix this problem is to do something about it. Get to know the things that scare you and the worst-case scenarios that could happen. Practice what you're afraid of, either in your mind or in the real world. The bad thing is almost always fixable or temporary. 4. Change how people think. Choose not to be hurt, and you won't feel hurt, wrote Marcus Aurelius. You shouldn't feel hurt, because you haven't. Turning the obstacle upside down was an exercise that the Stoics used. The goal was to make it impossible for people not to practice the art of philosophy. Because if you know how to flip a problem the right way, every bad thing can be turned into a new source of good. Just for a second, let's say you're trying to help someone and they're rude or won't work with you. The exercise says that these things don't make your life harder. Instead, they lead you to new virtues like patience or understanding. Or when someone close to you dies, it's a chance to show how strong you are. Marcus Aurelius said this about it: the obstacle to action moves action forward. What gets in the way ends up being the path. It should sound familiar because it's the same idea behind Obama's teachable moments. Right before the election, Joe Klein asked Obama how he decided how to handle the Reverend Wright scandal. He said something like, "When the story broke, I realized the best thing to do wasn't damage control, it was to talk to Americans like adults." What he did was turn a bad situation into the perfect setting for his landmark speech about race. People often say that entrepreneurs take advantage of opportunities or even make them. Everything is a chance for a Stoic. The Reverend Wright scandal, a frustrating case where your help isn't appreciated, and the death of a loved one are not opportunities in the usual sense of the word. In fact, they are not alike at all. They get in the way. A Stoic sees every problem as a chance to do something better. For a Stoic, there is no such thing as good or bad. There is only how you see things. You decide what people see. You can go beyond your first impression. X happened, and now my life is over. If you base your first reaction on not caring, you'll see that everything is just an opportunity. 5. Remember that it's all temporary. Marcus Aurelius wrote himself a simple but effective note to help him get back on track and keep his balance. Make a list of all the people who were very angry about something, the most famous, the most unlucky, the most hated, the most whatever. Smoke, dust, myth, or maybe not even a myth. Think of all the ways this is true, and how silly the things we want are that we care so much about. It's important to remember that the word passion here doesn't mean enthusiasm or caring in the way we use it today. In his book, Don Robertson explains that when the Stoics talk about overcoming passions, which they called patiai, they mean irrational, unhealthy, and excessive emotions and desires. One example would be anger. The most important thing to remember is that they want to replace them with eupathei, like joy, instead of too much pleasure. To get back to the point of the exercise, it's easy. Just think about how small you are. Also, keep in mind how small most things are. Remember that accomplishments can be short-lived and that you only have them for a moment. What does it matter if everything is short-lived? Right now is important. The Stoics believed that what matters is being a good person and doing the right thing right now. Take Alexander the Great, who ruled most of the world at the time and had cities named after him. This is something everyone knows. The Stoics would also say that once, when Alexander was drunk, he got into a fight with his best friend Clytus and killed him by accident. After that, he was so sad that for 3 days he couldn't eat or drink. Sophists from all over Greece were called to see what they could do to help him, but nothing worked. Is this what a happy life looks like? From a personal point of view, it doesn't matter if your name is on a map, if you lose sight of what's important and hurt the people around you. Don't make the same mistake as Alexander. Be low-key, truthful, and aware. You can have that every day for the rest of your life. You'll never have to worry that someone will take it away, or even worse, that it will take over you. 6. Look down from above. Marcus Aurelius said, "What a beautiful way to put it, Plato. When you want to talk about people, it's best to take a bird's-eye view and see everything at once. Gatherings, armies, farms, weddings and divorces, births and deaths, noisy courtrooms or quiet spaces, every foreign people, holidays, memorials and markets, all mixed together and set up in a pair of opposites." Marcus often did an exercise called taking the view from above, or Plato's view. It asks us to step back, zoom out, and look at life from a higher point of view than our own. This exercise, in which we think about all the millions and millions of people, armies, farms, weddings and divorces, births and deaths, makes us realize how small we are, just like the last one. It changes our perspective, and as the Stoic scholar Pierre Hadot said, the view from above changes our value judgments. Luxury, power, war, and the worries of everyday life become ridiculous. Part of this exercise is to see how small we are in the grand scheme of things. The second, more subtle point is to tap into what the Stoics call sympathia, which is a feeling that all of humanity is connected and depends on each other. Edgar Mitchell, one of the first people to really get a view from above, said, "In outer space you develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it." Take a step back from your own worries and remind yourself of your duty to others. Take the view of Plato. 7. Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. Seneca wrote, "Let's get our minds ready as if we were about to die. Let's not put anything off. Let's check the books of our lives every day." The person who spends every day putting the finishing touches on their life never runs out of time. Seneca's quote above is an example of Memento Mori, which is the ancient practice of thinking about death. Socrates said that the right way to do philosophy is about nothing else but dying and being dead. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that guide what you do, say, and think." For me, this was a reminder to keep living a good life right now, not to wait. Only if you miss the point can thinking about your own death be sad. The Stoics like this idea because it makes them feel strong and humble. One of Seneca's biographies is called Dying Every Day, which is not a big surprise. Seneca told us, "You may not wake up tomorrow, and you may not sleep again," as reminders that we will die. Epictetus, another Stoic, told his students, "Keep death and exile in front of your eyes every day, along with everything that seems terrible. If you do this, you'll never have a base thought or an excessive desire." Use these reminders and think about them every day. Let them be the building blocks for living your life to the fullest and not wasting a second. 8. Premeditation of bad things. Seneca wrote, "What you don't expect hurts you more, and what you don't expect makes a disaster even worse." This is one reason why we should never let anything catch us off guard. We should always think ahead and be prepared for every possible outcome, not just the usual one. Run through these scenarios in your head. Exile, torture, war, shipwreck. All the rules of our lives should be in front of us. The premeditation of evils is a Stoic exercise in which we think about things that could go wrong or be taken away from us. It helps us get ready for the bad things that will happen in life. Even when we have earned something, we don't always get it. Things aren't always as clear and simple as we think they are. From a psychological point of view, we need to get ready for this to happen. It is one of the Stoics' most powerful exercises for building strength and resilience. Seneca, for example, would start by going over his plans, like going on a trip. Then, in his head, or in his journal, as we said above, he would think about what could go wrong or stop it from happening. For example, there could be a storm, the captain could get sick, or pirates could attack the ship. He wrote to a friend, "Nothing goes wrong for a wise man that he didn't expect. He doesn't always get what he wants, but he gets what he thinks he will get." He thought above all that something could get in the way of his plans. By doing this exercise, Seneca was always ready for something to go wrong and was able to plan for it. He was ready to lose or to win. 9. Amor Fati Marcus Aurelius said to only love what happens, what was meant to happen. There's no better tune. The great German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said that a love of fate, or amor fati, was the key to being a great person. That person doesn't want anything to be different, ever, forward or backward. Not just take what is necessary, nor even try to hide it, but love it. The Stoics not only knew about this way of thinking, but they also liked it. 2,000 years ago, Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal journal, Meditations, "A blazing fire makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it." Epictetus, a crippled slave who faced adversity after adversity, said the same thing. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens, then you will be happy. This is why Amor Fati is a Stoic exercise and way of thinking that helps you make the best of any situation. You treat every moment, no matter how hard, as something to embrace rather than avoid. To not only be okay with it, but also love it and be better for it. So that problems become fuel for your potential, like air is to a fire. Thank you for coming with us today on our Stoic journey. We hope that these 9 Stoic exercises make sense to you and that they help you in your life. If you liked this video and thought it was insightful, please consider subscribing to our channel for more in-depth looks at Stoicism. We also have something special for those of you who want to go even deeper into the world of Stoicism. Check out our free ebook on Stoicism, which is full of useful exercises, thought-provoking ideas, and a complete guide to living a Stoic life. Click the link in the description below to get your hands on this very useful tool. Remember that taking one step is the first step toward becoming wiser and stronger. Adopt Stoicism and let its timeless lessons lead you to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. We appreciate you watching, and we hope to share more wisdom with you in the future. Stay calm until next time.